Hi, my name is Cheryl, and welcome to a continued discussion on the alternatives for Oasis. Now, I may not be ready to ditch Oasis entirely, but I have really enjoyed exploring other avenues of floral support. And what I mean by floral support, be chicken wire, pillows, cages, frogs, flower frogs. This is a great example of a pillow. This was designed by Holly Chappell of Hope Farms. It is very lightweight, very flexible, and even though it's made of plastic, it is reusable and recyclable. So originally cages were made out of metal, iron, brass, and copper. This one I picked up at Etsy. It was manufactured by its original patent holder, Daisy, D-A-Z-E-Y, and I think this one is from the 1970s. Makes us both vintage. So we will be using these metal cages in future arrangements, but I really want to focus on using this pillow for today's arrangement, which is inspired by Constance Spry. She was a designer, a British designer of the 1930s, and she was noted for her unconventional approach to flower design. And I say unconventional because prior to her, most florists adhered to a very Victorian sensibility or concepts. They were low and they were tight and very en masse, which means flower on flower on flower. And they were also had very rigid rules for design. This is when a lot of line designs were coming about, that horizontal, that vertical that we've been discussing in past arrangements. Well, her arrangements were open and natural and really expressive, and she used things like huge branches and really unusual materials. I have an example. She took a colonial vase, which is just a 5-finger vase, little out of the ordinary for what we're used to seeing, and each little finger has a hole in it. What she did, she took a piece of Swiss chard and stuck it in each one of the little holes. I know that's hard to imagine, but it was so different from what anybody else was doing, and the critics loved it. So she ended up doing flowers for the Queen's coronation. That's something. We're going to take a little piece of her and make something fantastic. I'm excited. Let's get started. We're going to start out with a container. This is a compote, very, very much like something you'd find from the 30s. I think it's fantastic. Pillow. This is how arrives, and then you just do a quick little assemble. This is designed so that you don't have to use tape, but I swear I am old school. I have to use tape. This is my 1/4-inch waterproof tape. My snips, I love these. These are by Garden Cut. I had somebody ask me recently. And then my trusty little Swiss Army knife. That just kind of helped me kind of pare down some of the stems to make sure I can get it in little holes. Now for the good stuff. So what I picked today is a local bouquet that is full of very, very seasonal flowers. Now some of these I'm not terribly familiar with, so I've got a little cheat sheet down here. But we'll start out with just our beautiful Asiatic lilies. Do not forget to pull the little pollen out. This is what makes the mess if you leave it. Simple as can be. A couple little sunflowers. Now this is a Crocosmia? Crocosmia? I think that's right.
Crocosmia.
You can always correct me. Let me know if I've hammered that one too badly.
Crocosmia.
This is a Sweet William. This is in the Carnation family. Very, very sweet. A Heliopsis. God, I love these. Straw flower. I had to look this up. I think this is red currant. And then verbena. My chick Constance, she likes sticks. I like sticks. We're ready to go. So when your pillow is shipped to you, it is going to be shipped kind of cupped like this, and all you'll need to do is flip it over and then line up the holes with the little prongs, and it just clips in very, very easily. So you can see that is nice assembly. That's it. Now what we'll do is move in the vase, and it just lies right on top. Now I am going to tape this because I just want a little bit more security while I'm making this arrangement. And we're just going to do a simple crisscross I am not going to go beast mode and wrap it all the way around like I usually do. This will hold it just fine. Okay, that's it. We're ready to make something pretty. Okay guys, so I had said that in my local bouquet that I was going to use sunflowers. Well, I opened up my local bouquet and my sunflowers were crap. So I punted, I went outside of my yard and I got some beautiful hydrangea. And we're going to use that as our base instead of the sunflowers. So what I'm going to do is basically use this to cover my initial mechanics. Let me give that a little bit of a cut. And that little trick that I have where you shave down a little bit of that surface area, you can use a sharp knife or you can use a vegetable peeler. You're just exposing that white marrow right there so your hydrangea can drink from that. And we're going to place him right in. I've got one more to do. Let me spin him around. And you can see we're going to be using all of these little holes here of our pillow. I'm going to do a quick measure. I'm going to cut. And then I'm going to shave. Just real quick. There we go. Exposed it already. And then in. All right. Now, I've already created something that I don't like. Boobs. We don't want that. So what I'm going to do is actually lower this one a little bit. And shape it. Okay. So now that we've got two uneven levels, we don't have those dirty pictures in our head anymore. So let's start with the Crocosmia, I think that is the way you say that, and that is going to develop our line. These are fantastic, and I know that our girl Constance would have just let these flowers do the talking. Yeah, let's just get this great shape moving up through here. And because I don't want horns, I want to do this at two different levels. And let's see. I might have to end up editing this one, but we'll see. And I'm going to tuck him right in between the hydrangea and get him in the holes. Yep, there we go. Now I've got that kind of really natural curvature going. Let's get some more strong flowers like this gorgeous lily. Now remember, we want to pull out all of these little pollens. This is what makes that mess. Okay, and then we just want to strip off all of these leaves. Just pull it right down. There we go. And just let that go right in the front. And you can give this a, see there's some little bits of pollen right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm gonna give it a blow. There you go. That should take care of it. You never want to wipe that, because what will happen is you'll just smear it. You can actually use a little paintbrush, or you can use a little bit of tape and just tap, tap, tap. Get rid of that. Clean that off. And remember your pollen. I can actually open this up a little bit and grab them. There we go, no mess. And then I'm going to tuck him around the back side. This one has a petal that broke. I don't like that. I'm going to get rid of him. I love these red currants. I think this is really, really dramatic. I'm not going to use all of the stem, because remember, this bowl is still really relatively shallow, and that is what this pillow is great for. It's holding all this weight. Just being very, very free form with all of this. I also picked up some foliage out of my yard. This is some hosta I thought would be interesting. I just wanted it to be very drapey and natural. And I don't want to do the same on the other side. I'm just going to pop him in here. And this is the Heliopsis. This has great movement, and I think what that will do is help kind of continue on these shapes. Now, one thing I have discovered with the holly pillow is that the holes are distinctively larger, and you might have to do multiple flowers in a hole for support. Like anything that's new, trying to learn the little tricks of how I'm making something work. Let's do something similar on the other side. And as long as I'm not too terribly even, let's kind of bring that up so I'm not. Let's get into some of this verbena. It's really sweet. And you can see that this is just really very, very natural. We don't have any rules to go by with this, and that was very much what Constance Spry was, I wouldn't say objecting to, but she just really wanted to be able to do her own thing with flowers. And I've told clients that do a lot of DIY, anything that's done with conviction, that's your idea, that's your design, it's fantastic. A little bit of confidence goes a long way with design. So let's do a little bit more green just for interest and weight. Okay, so I have this currant that's right here, and I really want to balance it out on the other side. And I do have this great big hole over here that's just screaming for something. And I think these currants will be fantastic for that. So again, I'm going to edit a little bit, give a snip, and then tuck him right in there. And I can use some of the other babies. Now, the other thing I did is I robbed some sword fern or Kimberly fern from my yard. I always think the yard is a fantastic source for greens, especially for your DIYers. And I love to actually keep something like this while it's in season at the shop too, as much as I can. We've always had baskets of ivy growing for weddings. And I just love the movement and how graceful the sword fern is. Find a little hole, there we go. I also robbed some Nandina out of the yard. This is one of my favorites. I find this very versatile. It is absolutely stunning at Christmas time to spray this with a little bit of gold or silver and incorporate this in your holiday arrangements. Never underestimate the value of some good greens in your yard. Oh, that is just really taking some really interesting shapes. Let's get some weight down over here. I think I want to be particularly dramatic since this is so heavy. I just think that that's just too fine. And then a little bit more of the sword fern. And remember, this was inspired by Constance Spry. The fact that she got to do flowers for the Queen and Wallis Simpson's wedding. That was a big deal back in the day. She was a femme fatale of the royal family, almost kind of like a Meghan Markle, if you will. Okay, just one last little bit of weight and I think we're done. Oh, I know what I wanted. Chicks and sticks. I can't go anywhere without a couple of sticks. Could certainly go a little bit bigger on the sticks, but I was kind of trying to keep things fairly low-key within the camera here. Oh, I think that is too much fun, guys. Let me do just a quick check. Make sure all of my parts and pieces are covered. Things are balanced, and I will be back with you in just a quick sec. Okay, so part of the deal was after I made the arrangement is I was going to actually review the pillow. So I did like it. I like the idea that I didn't have to use any snips. I didn't have to use any cut gloves. It's very lightweight. But I am a little limited to size. I think these come in a 4-inch, a 6-inch, and a 12-inch. And if I were to use something that was maybe square, I think I might be a little limited. Also, with the holes, you know, it might be a little bit challenging for some people to be able to get your arrangement supported correctly, but that's just trial and error. I did think it was a little pricey. I think it was $16 for 2 pieces. If you're a flower shop, you'd probably do a customer return and maybe give them a little something back. But otherwise, I think the arrangement came out beautifully and it was not that difficult to use. I hope you guys try it. So next time we're going to be exploring flower frogs. It's another alternative to oasis.